Alright, let's be honest. If you've ever thrown your controller across the room while playing a From Software game, you're not alone. These games live to break you just enough to make that next victory feel like winning the lottery. And with Elden Ring, Night Rain, they've doubled down on the pain, tossing in new horrors and bringing back old nightmares just to make sure you don't get too comfortable. These bosses aren't just hard, they're solo soul-crushing. If you thought playing with a squad was rough, try walking into these fights alone. It's like showing up to a dragon battle with a spoon. In this video, we're diving into the hardest bosses to defeat solo in Elden Ring, Night Rain. Whether it's their ridiculous movesets, rage-inducing mechanics, or the fact that some of them clearly didn't get the memo about fair fights, these bosses are no joke. We're talking about the ones that make you question your build, your life choices, and maybe even uninstall the game, until you come crawling back for one more try. So grab your flask, summon your patience, and let's count down the most brutal one-on-one battles in the Lands Between Night Rain Edition. I'm quickly moving on to the video. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching! The Godskin duo is back, and yes, it hurts just as much the second time around. If you thought taking them down in the base game was bad, wait until you meet them in Elden Ring, Night Rain. They show up both as a Night 2 boss, and in those ever-frustrating old Evergals, just in case you were hoping for a break. While their base game moveset is mostly intact, both Godskin Apostle and Godskin Noble have picked up some nasty new tricks in their second phases. It is almost like they knew players would come in overconfident and decided to punish that specifically. What makes this fight such a nightmare, still, is the same thing that made it awful the first time around. You are fighting both of them at once. Separately, totally doable. Together, a complete circus of pain. Melee-focused players especially have a hard time here, because spacing becomes a cruel joke when both bosses are flinging spells, rolling at you, and body slamming with perfect coordination. It is the classic gank scenario, and it has not lost any of its sting. You dodge one attack, and the second Godskin is already charging up something even worse. What adds to the insult is that this is not a one-and-done boss anymore. Since they can spawn in multiple locations including Evergals, there is a chance you will run into them more than once during your Night Rain journey. Each time feels like a mini raid boss, especially if you are playing solo. Sure, you get a dormant power and some runes for your trouble, but the real reward is surviving the chaos. Limveld is full of dangerous enemies, but few bring the same overwhelming pressure, claustrophobic arena space, and pure frustration as this dynamic, skin-wearing duo. Gladius, Beast of the Night, might be the first Night Lord you encounter in Elden Ring, Night Rain, but do not let that fool you. He hits like a truck and moves like he is auditioning for a dance competition. Found at the end of Night 3 during the Tricephalos expedition, this towering three-headed monster comes at you with sweeping long-range attacks, brutal combos, and terrifyingly fast gap closers. You think you have space? Think again. Even if you have made it this far without breaking a sweat, Gladius has a way of making every fight feel like your first. What makes him even more dangerous is his second phase. Just when you think you are learning his patterns, Gladius decides to pull a horrifying magic trick. He splits into 3 independent segments, each acting with their own timing, spacing, and bloodlust. If you are with a group, this part becomes chaotic but manageable. If you are alone, you are in a nightmare. The 3 heads will relentlessly chase you down, flanking, pressuring, and overwhelming every attempt to heal or counterattack. It turns into a game of survival, where stamina management and sheer panic resistance are your only tools. On the bright side, the rewards for taking him down are nothing to scoff at. Defeating Gladius will earn you the old pocket watch, the powerful Knight of the Beast, and a collection of relics. But let's be honest, those are just consolation prizes for surviving one of the most punishing solo boss fights in the game. Fire resistance is a must, and if you have any sleep or holy-based builds, now is the time to bring them out. Otherwise, get ready to run, dodge, and scream your way through one of Limveld's most unforgettable encounters. The Nameless King has returned, and he is not interested in your nostalgia, only your suffering. This legendary boss from the Souls series has made his way into Elden Ring, Night Rain, and somehow, he is even more terrifying than before. The fight starts off with that familiar aerial assault, The king mounted atop his storm dragon, unleashing massive lightning strikes and sweeping attacks. And just like the original, this is a two-phase nightmare, except now the pace is quicker, the hits are harder, and the windows to breathe are practically non-existent. The real challenge, though, comes in solo play. Without anyone else to pull his attention, every single move is directed at you, and the reduced arena size makes that an even bigger problem. You do not have much room to dodge or reposition, and healing? Forget it. Unless you can roll perfectly, you are probably taking a spear to the face. Once he dismounts and enters his second phase, it becomes a pure test of reflexes and stamina. Every swing is fast and unpredictable, and his lightning abilities can cover large portions of the battlefield, leaving very few safe zones. This is not just another boss you can skip or put off for later. If he shows up on the second night, you have to beat him to progress through the run. No shortcuts, no cheese, just a brutal one-on-one with one of the toughest enemies in the game. The reward? A dormant power and some runes. But more importantly, bragging rights. Beating the Nameless King solo in Night Rain is not just a milestone, it is a statement. It means you have the patience, skill, and sheer stubbornness to survive one of the most relentless boss fights From Software has ever created. Adele, Baron of the Night, might not look as fast or flashy as some other bosses in Elden Ring. Night Rain, but do not let that fool you. This fight is absolutely brutal, especially if you are going in solo. Found during the Gaping Jaw expedition, Adele is all about pressure. Its area of effect attacks are massive, and they are designed to punish anyone who stands still for even half a second too long. You think you are dodging in time, but those oddly delayed hitboxes say otherwise. It is the kind of boss that teaches you the hard way that movement is survival. What really makes Adele a menace, though, is that horrifying grab attack. It has a massive range, tracks like it is guided by GPS, and when it lands, it deals a burst of bleed damage that can instantly delete low defense characters. And here is the kicker, there is no real way to cheese it when you are alone. No allies to draw aggro, no backup to revive you if you get caught. It is a high-stakes duel with very little room for error. Every dodge has to be precise, every strike carefully timed, or you will be back at your last checkpoint, wondering what just happened. Adele is also deceptively tanky. Even if you are hitting it with its weaknesses, poison, scarlet rot, frost, or sleep, it takes a while to make any noticeable dent in its health bar. Fire damage is mostly shrugged off, and madness is completely ineffective. So many common builds feel nearly useless here. The good news? Beating Adele nets you the powerful Knight of the Baron and a handful of relics, which makes the struggle feel a bit more worth it. But let us be honest, you are not fighting Adele for the loot. You are fighting to prove you can survive one of Night Rain's most punishing solo encounters. Libra, Creature of Night, is one of those bosses that makes you question your entire build, and maybe your sanity too. Found during the Equilibrious Beast expedition, Libra is as bizarre as it is deadly. It leans hard into madness, not just as a damage type, but as a full-blown mechanic. Most of its attacks cause madness buildup, some of which cannot be dodged in the traditional sense. At one point, you even have to pick up scattered objects around the arena just to stop yourself from going insane. That is right. Part of the fight is playing a game of hide-and-seek under constant pressure. The cruelest part of Libra's design is how it toys with solo players. There is one phase where it becomes completely immune to damage and summons glowing sigils around the arena. If you do not destroy every single one before the timer runs out, boom, massive explosion, guaranteed death. Sounds manageable, right? Not quite. Some of those sigils float high up in the air, well out of reach for melee-only players. So, unless you came prepared with a ranged weapon or some well-timed spells, you are basically locked out of victory. It is the kind of moment that makes you pause the game and reevaluate your choices in life. On the upside, Libra does have a weakness, but of course, it is madness. And good luck finding a weapon or spell that consistently applies that effect without turning your character into a glass cannon. Most magic bounces right off, and sleep is a no-go, so typical strategies go straight out the window. The reward for enduring all this chaos is the Night of the Demon and a few relics, but really the prize is just surviving the most offbeat, brain-melting boss in Elden Ring, Night Rain, If Gladius is the beast that breaks your body, Libra is the one that breaks your mind. The Mountaintop Ice Dragon is not just a boss, it is a full-on endurance test. Found during the Mountaintop Shifting Earth event, this fight takes place in one of the most unforgiving areas in Elden Ring, Night Rain. The terrain is constantly changing, vision is limited by swirling mist, and the cold itself becomes a weapon. From the moment you enter the fight, the frostbite buildup starts ticking, and unless you are stacked with resistance or chugging warming items, you are on a timer, one that is not in your favor. What makes this dragon a nightmare for solo players is how long the fight drags out. Its health pool is massive, and it does not give you many clean windows to strike. Between sweeping tail attacks, devastating wing slams, and long-range frost breath that covers the whole battlefield, you are constantly on the move. The buffs hidden around the mountaintop are helpful, but good luck grabbing them mid-fight while dodging a flying ice lizard with the mood of a blizzard. Even ranged builds struggle here because of the visibility and how quickly the dragon relocates after each attack phase. And then there is the storm. The environment itself becomes part of the boss fight. Every second you spend exposed to the wind and mist, your frostbite meter rises. That means even healing becomes a risky maneuver. The only real way to stay alive is to keep moving and pray your stamina lasts. Defeating the Mountaintop Ice Dragon rewards you with a legendary armament and a chunk of runes. But more importantly, it grants you relief, not just from the dragon, but from the relentless weather, the shifting battlefield, and the sheer exhaustion of one of Night Rain's most draining solo encounters. Natural Born of the Void makes its chilling return in Elden Ring, Night Rain, and this time, it is not just here to impress, it is here to test your limits. Found during the Nocleteo Shifting Earth event, this boss is all about pressure. It towers over the battlefield with devastating area-based magic attacks and resistance to nearly everything you would normally bring into a fight. Fire, holy, magic, light, you name it. The only real opening lies in its head, a small weak point that requires pinpoint accuracy and perfect timing to hit, especially if you are fighting solo. The worst part? Time is your enemy just as much as the boss itself. The arena for Natural Born is placed right on the edge of the map, far from the city's heart. That means getting there is a journey in itself, and once you are in, you cannot afford to drag the fight out. Solo players often find themselves caught in a loop of dodging massive spells, looking for that tiny headshot window and watching the clock tick down. If you cannot deal enough damage fast enough, you are looking at a wasted run, or worse, an untimely death just moments before the kill. But for those who manage to bring it down, the reward is incredible. One dormant power, a hefty pile of runes, and most uniquely, the Favor of Nocleteo, a powerful item that allows for a one-time resurrection. It is a lifesaver in both PvE and PvP, but the real question is it worth the risk? If you are confident in your build, timing, and damage output, Natural Born of the Void becomes a high-stakes thrill ride. If not, it might just be the boss that teaches you the hardest lesson in Night Rain. Sometimes the Void stares back, and then crushes you under a mountain of glowing tentacles. Hjolstor the Night Lord is not just the final boss of the Night Aspect Expedition. He is the ultimate test of everything Elden Ring. Night Rain throws at you. From the moment the fight starts, Hjolstor makes it clear you are in for a brutal time. His first health bar is a complete fake-out, lulling you into a false sense of security before unleashing his true form. That second phase? It is pure chaos. Wide-reaching area of effect chains, relentless melee combos, and explosive ranged attacks that seem to have a grudge against your entire existence. The real kicker for solo players is that Hjolstor never lets up. His aggression is on a whole other level, with huge leaping attacks that can cover massive distances and barely give you time to breathe. Without a co-op partner to pull some of the heat, every single move is aimed directly at you. This is not the kind of fight where you can wing it. You need a plan, a well-thought-out build, and ideally, some holy damage in your pocket, because that is about the only thing he is even slightly weak to. Poison, frostbite, bleed, and madness, completely useless here. And just getting to Hjolstor is a feat in itself. You have to plan your leveling carefully, optimize your upgrades, and make sure your stats are solid before even stepping into the arena. Under-leveled players will get steamrolled in seconds. But for those who manage to endure his onslaught, the rewards are legendary: the Knight of the Lord, the Primordial Night Lord's Rune, and a handful of powerful relics. Hyolstor is not just a final boss, he is a wall, a test, and a rite of passage. Beat him solo, and you earn your place among the legends of Night Rain. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.